Hello everyone! This is Retro Touhou Festival 3! And now we have the first qualifiers match of RTF3 Quad Hard Scoring with Marbles and B-Tick. Take it away, KC and Pigeon.
Hello, everyone. So who wants to do the honors first? Who's gonna break the ice? Shall I do it?
Well, I will not interrupt.
Yeah, well, we can just have a little simple explanation here since this is a qualifiers match. This is going to be Touhou free hard scoring. This is the second highest difficulty. This is going to be not that different from lunatic scoring. In this game, you have to chain enemies and chain fireballs and bullets to basically rack up your spell points. The spell points are in the top left corner of the player's screen, so that's what you want to be on the lookout for mostly. And then there's also the spell point requirements that you want to hit to summon all sorts of things, whether it be level 2 patterns. Those you can just charge for. You have boss attacks and you have boss panics, and those are going to be contributing to this clear bonus. Very important stuff. There's going to be a lot going on, but in terms of that's kind of the general vibe of scoring this game. And this is a versus game, so we're gonna have 2 screens on at the same time for both of these players. So it technically makes it 4 screens. It's gonna be kind of hard to tell what's going on, but we will be here to explain everything that's going on as these players are duking it out against each other and against the AI opponents. There's going to be 9 stages. So this game can be quite long, but we do have some lives that these players can spend to get a little bit more score, because the final clear bonus is not that significant in this game. And I think that's just about it. I don't know if Pigeon has anything to add.
Yeah, no, that's about the general vibes. We have 2 players for the qualifiers today, so it will be pretty easy to follow it, to kind of explain everything there. And we're pretty much soon to be ready to begin the match as well on our end.
Very good. Now, I will count to 10, and then the 2 players will begin, and they will be very nice to me and make sure everything works on their end. So, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Timer begins.
All right, let's get started. So this year, this is a hard category. So hard category has higher up rankings overall and more enemies that are a bit more tough to defeat. So already starting with enemies with 1 to 2 hits in green, 3 with blue, and pink / purple 4 hits. So the first part is to try to get the gauge up to 2 as quickly as possible. So this can be done with the chaining enemies, but also getting 2 or 3 enemies hit at once will also get the gauge up a little bit faster compared to just one being defeated. We can also see it being started with B-Tick playing not B-Tick.
Wait, is B-Tick playing Rainbow? Why are they inverted? What?
Well, B-Tick is not playing B-Tick shot type, while Marbles is playing the B-Tick shot type.
What? That's the case. Yeah, that's actually the case for some reason. What a twist.
Yeah. So, Rainbow is one of the more quicker characters to clear the game overall, because the yin-yang boss that spawns in can easily defeat some enemies. So the focus is to try to get as many level 2s as possible there without getting too much chaos in, and she has a higher potential to get higher clear bonuses at the end of each stage. While Len'en is a bit more troublesome in the early stages overall, because the charge rate of Remu is on the quickest side compared to Len'en, who is on the slower side.
Yeah, Ellen is a very difficult character to play, but she's also very difficult to play against. It's like everything about her is very slow, and this is the kind of game where you kind of want to be fast. It's a little bit less of a detriment on hard because on hard, the random pellets that you see appearing from the top of the screen move slower, significantly slower than Lunatic, in fact. And then, yeah, Reimu is going to be, who BTIC is playing, is a broken shot, and what that basically means in this context is that she has projectiles, and in this case specifically her yin yang orbs here that are very they can very easily cause early hits to happen, because in this game every opponent basically has like a pre-designated timer when they get hit, and I forgot exactly like every how many seconds it is on hard, but like the timers in this game are like start around like in the 110, I think, and then it goes all the way to like the final stage, or like the final stage where it's around like in the 4 minutes or mid 4 minutes. And so Reimu is we're going to be seeing shorter rounds with Reimu is what that means. And that does give BTIC a little bit of an advantage because the runs are going to be shorter, and it is also going to be easier to finish a run. So that does give a little bit of an advantage here. Ellen can also cause unintentional hits a little bit, but she still has like very difficult survival to deal with. So it's not quite like the same. I would say like she is probably the closest to quite really.
So they got really set from hardballs. We want to get as much as possible to not die before station, or depending on the characters. Because later stages we have much more chance to give more stage core games, while the players just want to so the rest for the rest will really be sacrificed before the final stages, and very much like chances with people trying to for a round one clear, especially with such short times. People will get more profits out of round 2, round 3 stages, stage 9 and stage 8 rounds overall. Like usually can go up for like 5-6 millions as well. So most of the decision will have to be done at least after stages. Stages can be there can be an acceptable death since the first 6 stages are randomized with the characters. So if you get like for example a death against like Reimu stages, they can still be very profitable as well if you start up with like some decent gauge. But overall you would be trying to go maybe for a stage 7 death, since you are facing Mima at that point, and Mima is also a very strong character to get some some scoring. There can also be some special things that happen. So due to the AI being able to be hit early, for example with Reimu, it's possible that they use their bombs and get the early hits. Usually in 99% of cases, late AI on round 1 will go in defense state whenever they are on last hit, which means that they will always go for max age. But there can be a few occasions where it is not the case, and those are the very bad cases, because if they do that, going to defense mode, they have a higher probability to trigger a hyper whenever they are able to get hit before the actual end of the timer. And Reimu being able to give a lot of gauge, it is possible that the AI can chain a couple hypers before actually dying at the end of the round, which hypers can be very, very strong to have in most of the characters. I guess most characters.
Yeah, hypers are a pretty good survival tool, even for these players here, to survive for 10 seconds without them being able to get hit. But that is also something the AI can use, but they kind of use it randomly, so you can't really like count on them using it, because like what determines them using bombs is not really like sometimes they will just use it even though they are supposed to get hit. But if they are about to get hit when their timer doesn't demand them to, then they will try to use a bomb or a hyper. But in most rounds, you're not really going to see hypers. But if you see a bomb, which you usually do see, that means that they would have gotten hit if they didn't bomb there. They will only bomb to save themselves. And the same is true for hypers.
Yeah, if you're playing like a more crazy characters like Lemuriga Baby or Chiori, I had like one example this week where Chiori in the 3 rounds I was facing her, she got to trigger at least 6 hypers in almost the rounds, which is kind of insane to have. Also very good points to collect if you have some very good controls. Depending on the opponents as well that we are facing, sometimes you would want to keep the bosses on your end because it's possible to get some good control about immediately countering the bosses. Countering bosses works as the following. So it starts with getting spell point counter to 51 to 51k to 51,200, and it will double. It will add 51,200 every time up until 665,000, and each counter is counted as long as your spell points or the opponent's spell point is higher than the previous count on your end. So if you have still an advantage in spell points and you have a boss advantage, as long as the opponent doesn't have an advantage on spell points afterward, you will still be able to keep the boss around without them having to trigger. There is a special case though with the halfway mark at about 300,000 spell points, where you also auto-trigger a panic attack, which automatically sends a level 3, whatever the state of the boss is on the side.
Yeah, and those also get translated to 300k points in the clear bonus. Whenever you get a boss panic, you get that from the 300k skill points. So it's really a 600k increase just if you win that round. So we also want to be paying attention to these fireballs here that spawn, because you see them, like when you saw a BTEC screen right now, there was like a stack of red fireballs, like all going towards Raymond there. That's because half the time these fireballs are going to be aimed at you. The round always starts with fireballs being randomly distributed across the screen, and then the next 5 seconds they will be aimed at you, and it just keeps cycling like that over and over. And so when you are starting a new round, you always want to try to use a level 2 if you can, so that the opponents will try to reflect those bullets. The bullets that turn into fireballs that go towards your screen will then all be aimed at you, so you can use that to your advantage. And like, it's not enough to just have the fireballs be stacked on top of each other. You also need to be lined up somewhere where you can kill enemy formation. So it's not just like, you know, free score right there and then, but you also need to be in the right position, and that sometimes does require you to react pretty quickly to what the enemy formations are.
Yeah, and even sometimes, even if you are well positioned, the hitbox of a spirits can be a bit precise to hit, especially if we are facing off with very small enemies. So sometimes you can just have a whole column spawning on top of you, but they are slightly off on a very small enemy, and you just get nothing. So this is something to be very, very careful of. I also see that BTEC has achieved the end of the first 6 stages, which is the end of the randomization state. So at this point, all the enemies will be set up. So Rebu will always be facing Mima on stage 7. So depending on what happens, a death in this stage can be very good, because Mima does a very strong level 1 to get some easy gauge on, and also it's also one of easier characters to get the max bonuses on the hit counter, which in PODD the hit counter can go up to 255 hits, which is 2.55 million maximum collectible there. So it can be very, very free if she sends some level 2s, but the bosses also sends a lot of small pellets as well, because like 3 attack out of 5 that do send a lot of those. Also, as a bonus as well, that is present in the game, is that the following rounds, if round 1 is lost, will start at a higher rank. So the bosses at that point and the attacks will probably be already at max level by that point. So it can be very profitable for any of those later stages to get there. So see that out of panic, BTIC has triggered a hyper. Mima being on last hit and without bounce is in defense mode, so we could see a hyper on the AI side before the end of the turn.
Yeah, and so in general, you want to keep your suicides for the late game too. Like if your stage 7 opponent is a very high scoring opponent like Mima, it is definitely worth trying to do a suicide, but you could also choose not to, depending on like just what your risk appetite is with how confident do you feel about the late game. Could you perform well on it and actually clear too? Because ultimately, the final clear bonus is still a fairly substantial amount of score that you can get. There's also, whenever you suicide and you start a new round, I was mentioning how, you can get the round back in full swing if you use a level 2 and then just reflect all the bullets and fireballs from that right away. Well, there's also the thing where this is not really that relevant on Lunatic, but on Hard, there will be this factor called round speed, and this is basically a mechanic where that basically interacts with everything in the game. But in general, what it means is that the higher the round speed is, the more bullets spawn, the faster enemies move around, and also how they are generally also more durable in that case. And there's a couple other factors, but basically, whenever you start a new round, the initial round speed is going to be higher as opposed to if you started the first round. So whenever you do a new round, the intensity of the game is actually going to go up, despite the fact that the timer of the AI for the next round is going to be reduced. So it's basically going to be, you're basically going to defeat the opponents quicker in that case, but it's also going to be slightly more dangerous. So that is something to also look out for. But it can be kind of difficult to tell that it is happening if you are not really used to playing the game. So you can just keep in mind that later rounds are in general going to be more intensive. And again, the main thing that we want to be looking out for, like the most important thing here, is the spell points, the yellow number that you're seeing on the top left of the screens of both of these players. As you saw, that BTIC just got 477k, so that was basically enough to get a reversal and also a boss panic. However, if you get a boss reversal by getting enough spell points to basically send this boss back to the opponents, then you don't immediately get a boss panic. You actually have to keep chaining for a little bit, so long as you're still above 300,000. So like everything that you trigger in this game doesn't like all happen instantly. There's usually a delay for whatever stuff you summon, and it's also possible that when you summon a boss or anything like that and then you use a level 2 soon afterwards, the boss actually won't trigger, and that's called a boss cancel. And that can be a good or a bad thing, because let's say you trigger a boss by getting 51,200 spell points, which is the base requirement in terms of spell points to summon a boss. Well, let's say right after that, before the boss can even physically appear, you summon a level 2. Well, now the boss won't spawn because the level 2 takes priority, but the spell point requirement is still going to go up by an additional 51,200. Which is something that happens when you summon a boss. Well, if that happens, if you keep chaining, you still get the next requirement really quickly. Well, then it basically gives you extra score, and it also makes it more difficult for the opponent to reflect the boss back to you. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, and it's a little bit of a guessing game, but you can sometimes also kind of build intuition as to when you can get away with doing it. And with Ellen here, like her charge speed is very slow, so she's more easily capable of like prematurely releasing a charge so you don't accidentally trigger a boss cancel. But with a shot type like Reimu actually has the fastest charge speed in the game. With her, it's a lot easier to accidentally trigger a level 2 when you don't necessarily want to. And you can, in fact, even overshoot your level 2 and make it a level 3 because you delayed your release of the charge attack too slow. And that is something that is fairly common because sometimes there is a strategic timing that you want to use to release your level 2 because maybe there's like a bunch of fireballs that you might otherwise not be able to reflect. There can be a lot of like nuanced situations where you might want to delay using a spell while you're already charging. But usually when you're already charging, you're at least committed to a charge attack. Especially with Reimu, whose charge speed was really fast. But with Ellen here, it's a lot easier to control that, but having a really slow charge speed does come with the cost of you being defenseless for a much greater amount of time. Like Ellen actually has the slowest charge speed in the game, even slower than Rikako, in fact. So if you wanted to like play it really safe and let's say charge a level 4 to reflect the boss back that way, which is a survival strategy, you're going to have to keep yourself vulnerable for quite a long time, and that might become relevant if we see marbles here get to the final stage, because the final stage you do want to clear at all costs.
Something that can also happen is that if the AI is canceling a boss on their side and spawning a boss to your side, if you are sending a level 4 boss manually, you actually have to wait for the full boss to spawn in, otherwise you only send a level 3, which can be a bit weird because of the timing. And so something to talk about as well, about talking about delays earlier, is that whenever you use the level 1, depending on the character shot that you are using, you have another delay that exists before you are being able to either bomb or going for the next charge again. Now, despite Ellen being the slowest in charge rate overall, Chiri does have a very slow reloading before being able to charge again another spell on her side, despite having a much larger quick charge rate.
Also, someone was saying about how on non-lunatic you do want to suicide on stage 8. That's correct. Chiri is still a very lucrative opponent for score. Like, you can see that a lot of her attacks have pellet bullets, and those are really the things you want to reflect back. And she also has this level 2 you see right there that at high rank actually lasts a very long time. So it's very worth trying to like spend rounds with her to get as much score as you can. And it's also like pretty much the end game, so the timers are going to be long anyway, so you really want to just make use of that stage. Now, you can technically decide to just win the first round and just have all your lives on Yumemi, but in terms of score, it's not quite as optimal generally. You would want to spend some lives on generally like stage 7, 8, or 9, but you know, you might change your route a little bit depending on how you feel about the situation. Like, if you feel like you perform very badly on Yumemi, you might want to have, you know, 1 or 2 more extra lives for her in case, you know, just so you are able to more consistently clear.
Yeah,
so you don't.
Million.
You don't want to get to the final stage, preferably with 0 lives left, because Yumemi does have an infinite timer, and that basically means that she's going to dodge as best she can. You know, despite the fact that the AI technically has no sense of foresight, so the AI can trap itself, which can happen with both of these characters here, but it is more common with Reimu. Also, there was a very good cone dodge on BTIC's side there. That's very risky, because the spread is kind of like a little bit random. And yeah, we should probably like commentate on what's actually going on on both opponents' screens right here. We can see Reimu's on the final stage here. BTIC playing Reimu is on stage 9. Marbles is on Chiri still.
Yeah, he's
lost one round.
He did a suicide on round 2 there. I don't know.
In terms of score, BTIC is currently having an advantage. Like, I think if Marbles reached this point in the game where BTIC is at right now, he would be having about equal score. But Reimu scores less in this game, so in terms of RTF score, BTIC is currently ahead.
So I think Reimu might have like some more potential to gain some score because I think the current record on Reimu is quite low compared to the capability she is able of, especially with the ability to spawn some major number of bullets with the level 2s.
The current record is actually quite good at this point, but it's like compared to Yumemi, it's actually pretty lacking. But the Yumemi record is also much stronger and luckier at this point. I do know that Reimu does still have some improvements, but like in terms of score, like it's mostly the same. It kind of depends. Like with Yumemi, it's that her level 2 is more effective, but it's also harder to time because this is a level 2 that lasts a very short time, so you have to be very deliberate with how you time your level 2s. With Ellen here, the timing doesn't really matter because her attack lasts quite a long time and the screen gets filled with bullets quite well. With Reimu here, the timing is a little bit more strict. The level 2 does not last as long, and it also exclusively spawns at the top of the screen. So you would preferably want to summon your level 2 right before the next formation appears, which in general is true for all shot types. Sometimes the timing is just a little bit different. Like, for example, if you were to play Rikako, for example, the bullets don't really spread that well at the beginning, so you would actually want to time your level 2s a bit early. But yeah, for Marbles aside here, the timing is not going to matter as much. Also, so now BTIC is still with 1 life left, so we're probably going to see one more suicide, or maybe not. Maybe not. We might also just see BTIC trying to get a clear just to get a score on the board. That could happen.
Yeah,
it would not be a tremendous score loss.
Yeah, and you're able to get like 8 to 9 millions on Lantos as well from the clear bonus, so you could still have like something decent.
Yep, that's a clear.
52.7
52.
million. Okay. First clear, which I think for Violet might be equivalent to like 50, close to 60 million to clear to have about the same score range.
I believe BTIC's PB is currently 60 million, so it's fairly close to PB, but definitely there can still be improvement here.
Yeah, the round 1s and 2s are quite unfortunate to have there in comparison. Also, okay, almost got... so in the previous round, Marbles also lost a bomb to use.
Yeah, Marbles has to be careful now because... like this run only has 1 remaining life left, and there's only like 1 hit left on this round. So hopefully, with this hyper war that's going on right here, hopefully that's just enough. Yeah, all right, very good. That was also wow. That was an extremely high clear bonus, by the way.
Oh yeah,
almost 10 million. That's really good. That definitely made up for at least the score that the Marbles was behind with, but. Now it kind of comes down to the clear. Like it's going to be a little bit rough. Like I believe the timer for hard round two for this stage is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I think it might be 4 minutes, but that's still going to be a decent amount of time to have to survive. And then on this first round, we can reasonably expect that Yumemi's not going to take many hits, or at least not too many before Marbles takes the death here.
Oh, it's a sad hit there. Just quite too much to be on free hit and showed. So we have to be careful if the round lasts for quite some time. Yeah, another thing with round ones usually and with VI is that they should be much unlikely to use a level 2. They're more likely to use bosses or level 3s whenever they are using attacks. But on other occasions, they can have the ability to just go for like free floor. Oh, it's a nice column there.
Oh, that's gonna be bomb? Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Like 3-4
Yeah, so
chains
you-
of C2s in a row.
Yeah, so you can also see like there was like this massive cloud of bullets that was going after Marbles here. These bullets are actually loosely aimed at you, so what you could technically do here is if you can predict the big like death cloud of bullets to come to you, you could go to one side of this train to misdirect the bullets and then move to the other side to basically sidestep all bullets. This is kind of difficult to do with Ellen, however, because she is the slowest moving character in the game, and that is kind of a downside with her, that you can't really do fast macro dodges. I'm not sure if that cross would have hit her there, but...
Cross, I think it would have. It's possible also for a cross to spawn too low. Oh, nice hyper there. A cross can spawn too low, and it can be hit even if you are at the bottom of the screen as well. But so far,
yeah, the hitboxes are a bit wonky, so...
That's a nice bomb.
Yeah, so at this point, Marbles just wants to play it safe and not use any more spells. You can't keep using level 2s. Basically, what that does is that it lets you score more per minute, so to speak. But it also, makes it much more likely that you're going to die prematurely. So it's kind of a balancing act. Like generally, that was definitely a mistake.
No, good suicide.
those-
It was on last hit for you, maybe.
Okay, I probably wasn't paying attention to that. But yeah, like if Yumami is on her last hit, you could either like suicide immediately, or you could try to not shoot at all and risk her hopefully not getting hit by the one enemy formation that can get her hits. Because in general, how the AI gets hit in this game, besides EX attacks, is that there will be 2 hitboxes extremely close to the AI, and they only are able to react to one of them. But if there's like 2 hitboxes extremely close to each other, like right next to the AI, they will not really read it properly, and that can actually cause a hit to happen, which is most common with like large hitboxes, not so much with like pellet bullets or things like that. It's mainly for like big hitbox objects, so to speak.
Yeah. Albert began taking risks by using a level 2, but it was a nice counter, and you maybe also followed up with a level 2, which was very nice to just counter the boss spawns. And first run was also pretty lucrative. It was like 3.5 million there, so about 5-6 max gauges on spell points. One quirk that also exists with the spell point counter is that whenever you go to the max spell point, it will always set to reset within the next 1 or 2 seconds. So
yeah, it basically lasts as long as the chain is able to whenever you change something, it takes about 1 second for the chain to like stop completely, and that also applies to when you hit maximum spell points, which is 655,350. So at that point, you just have to force the spell point counter to reset basically. But technically, like one little quirk also is that if you keep chaining something and that chaining allows for like for example a boss to summon, then it will still actually trigger. So that's a little like you don't necessarily have to always stop chaining stuff when you've reached the maximum spell points. Also, Marbles is in a lot of trouble.
That was very
Still
close.
has 2 hits left. I think one of those hits was early, which is actually good, because if you take an early hit in this game, you actually take less damage. This is very oh no.
That's
58.98.
that was 65 million, I think.
Yeah, that would have definitely been well above 60 million if that was a clear. That is kind of one big downside with playing Ellen here. Ellen has a lot of trouble against Yumemi. Like, it's already bad enough that her charge speed is so bad, but her charge attack itself, like in terms of just damage, it doesn't pierce. And considering that Yumemi's crosses are like actual solid hitboxes, that means that her charge attack just gets blocked by the crosses. So she kind of gets countered pretty hard against Yume. She has a very hard time surviving against her. She's probably one of the worst characters to play against Yumemi here. Like, Reimu definitely has a significantly easier time.
Also, you could see that on the leaderboard that Marvel is a big Ellen fan, and his PB is at 85 million, with second place at 68 and 9. Quite the big difference in score there. But yeah, so decent paces overall so far. The actually ahead of Rebu for Ellen. The score at only 3.19 points converted compared to 22.128. I thought it would have been a little lower, but okay, it is actually very, very close there. So the on the chain about the chain, so there are two things. There's one main thing to keep the chain going is that as long as you get a minimum of a 2 hit chain ongoing, the hit chain will be able to continue over. Once a reset timer on the chain is set, you need to make sure that within the next second or two, a 2 hit chain is continued to make sure that you can reset the timer. So sometimes, even though you get like some good chains on, and it just stops, you can just lose the spell point count, because the reset timer was actually not over before the last chain was over as well. So there can be some cause like this. Yeah. And the second thing is that whenever you reach the max spell point chain, the reset timer will automatically trigger. And whenever the next chain begins, if you have a big hit counter ready on there, your starting spell points on said second counter will be depending on that hit counter. So instead of starting at like 100 or 20 or 300 spell points, for example, if you have like a 50 hit combo ongoing at that time, you could directly start at 100k or something, or even at max spell point again, if there's some crazy hit combo from a chain level 2, for example, there. So
yeah, so like the greater hit counter is, the faster your spell points go up. And it's also, there's also this small thing where if something you chain reacts, if there are multiple things chain reacting the exact same thing on the exact same frame, it will actually count spell points up twice. So whenever you see like a huge amount of, like, say, bullets or fireballs that instantly get reflected, there's a good chance that will actually grant you the maximum amount of spell points, because a lot of those like entities get basically chained twice. That's a little like thing that we only know about since recently, thanks to the reverse engineering efforts from Nameless Legacy. And also what Pigeon was saying earlier about what causes you to gain spell points at all. You need to actually chain react something. The actual act of killing something with your shot itself won't give you spell points. This is not true for Phantasmagoria Flower View, but it is true in this case. You need to actually physically chain react something, or you need to have your killed enemies collide with bullets that get reflected, but those itself won't create like explosions themselves. But if you kill a fireball with an enemy explosion or a fireball explosion, then those fireballs will create new explosions. So that's also what makes fireballs very important to chain, because you're seeing like Marbles was already getting here 300k spell points from that big clump of red fireballs, because the red fireballs actually give you a lot of spell points. And also, by the way, blue fireballs get spawned from just chaining enough stuff, and then the red fireballs spawn basically from blue fireballs that get reflected, either through chaining or just them being killed directly with your shot. And the red fireballs give more spell points than the blue ones. And with the blue ones, it's actually based on the round speed as well, but I believe it never gets as high of a potential as the red fireballs. So like the blue ones are more varied in how much score they give you. But general and lower difficulties, they give less because the round speed is actually lower on the lower difficulties just by default.
Yeah,
very good
it's
change here from Rainbow's side.
Yeah, it's like in Phantasmagoria Flower View, where you get to spawn the green spirits, which are the tiny ones, then the yellow that are mid-size, and then the red spirits that are the bigger size, and each one of them will give different points. With the bigger, the higher the spell point counter will go to. And also the red spirits, whenever they are getting defeated, will also spawn EXs on the other side of on the opponent's side. Something that also worth noticing as well in the player choices, the level ones of Len'en are not piercing, unlike Reimu's amulets. So Reimu with also the charge, the quicker speed charge, can use those level ones, for example, to quickly trigger a ghost enemy, for example, and chain trigger through a pack of flames, unlike Len'en, where Len'en would be stopped by the flames before reaching the enemies. And so Reimu would have an easier time to chain react with his fireballs by just using the level ones sometimes. So it can be used both as a protection, but also as a kind of a neat tool for scoring. But you also need to be careful that those spirits are also kind of behind to make sure that they are despawned by the enemies and not the amulet. Otherwise, they won't be counted in the chain.
Yeah, Reimu's level 1 is defensively, and in terms of chaining, one of the best in the game, really, because you have 4 amulets that just stay in place for a while, and anything that basically collides with that gets killed or reflected or whatever. And so Ellen doesn't really have that same luxury, because the way her charge attack works is that it's 30 arrowhead bullets that basically move towards whatever the closest target is. So you don't really have a lot of control with her. And also, if you do want to really go out of your way to move towards the thing you're trying to target, then you could just get yourself killed, because you have to go way up on the screen. So it can be kind of risky.
Yeah, so for the chat, yes, you can use Len'en level 1 for the flame, but it's only 4 flames, and since Len'en is very slow, good luck using it to dodge something with those invincible flames.
Well, you still use her level 1 to quickly get chains, because you're still going to have enemies come down and big clumps of fireballs, and the level 1 is still going to be more effective at dealing with that than just using your basic shots. At least it will still be more consistent. But since they don't pierce, it's still possible that you might miss the big reflection. But it's still a bad level 1, but it's still better than nothing. And and obviously it does give you some iframes right after you release the charge. And this is true for all levels of charge, by the way. It's also for level 2s to 4s.
Also, you see her level 1 being useful in later at higher rank, because it's a nice support shot to just defeat enemies if you don't have the mashing power, especially if you, for example, have to deal with 4 hit enemies. So you can use them to just solely get the trigger there. And also, since they also auto triggers after using Uncharged level 2, they can also be useful to be in place and beginning a trigger chain before the first spirit actually spawns on enemy side, on your side. Yeah.
Oh yeah, at first I wasn't sure where the scores were, but was looking at the target thing, so that was confusing me. So yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, I was reading through there earlier, way on the side. That's like I should have. I didn't notice. And if there is a special, very rare case, for example, if there's absolutely no enemy on the screen, by default, the Len'en level 1s will focus on the center of the screen.
That's a very big reflection from Ellen's boss attack. There's a lot of like luck factors that come in when it comes to what patterns bosses decide to use, because you would rather have the your boss produce as many pellets as possible with the attacks that have them, and also the other way around. Like with Ellen, for example, here, her pellet pattern that she fires right here, as you can see right here on the screen, it can make some really big reflections, and even if you don't reflect it from the source itself, it's still a pretty consistent way to gain spell points, and it's also a much easier way to get rid of the boss, to have it be reflected. And more reflections basically just means more score. Like basically everything you summon is going to be contributing towards the score, even if it doesn't contribute to the clear bonus. If you trigger a lot of level 2s or just boss summons and such, that is a good indication that your round is going well score-wise. And usually those are also the rounds that you want to win. But of course, you also still want to make sure that you actually spend all of your lives generally. But you might also just want to play it safe and have one life just in reserve, in case on the last stage you end up dying when you don't want to. Then you'll still have a second chance. So yeah, it looks like Marbles is BRB right now, so we'll just put our focus on BTIC's run right here.
Yeah, BTIC just survived a very rough flood against Kotohime there, doing some pretty wild dodges on last HP as well. Kotohime is one of those enemies where you actually want her to not have a boss on your side, because there's only one single attack that spawns pellets, and it's not very, very condensed, unlike other bosses.
Yeah, Kotohime is definitely this is why having Kotohime on stage 7 is the worst opponent in the game, because you don't get a lot of opportunities to reflect stuff. And on top of that, she also kind of specializes in very densely packed micro dodging that you have to do, which is something that in this game isn't that easy to do, especially with the shot who actually fights Kotohime in stage 7. But yeah, in general, Kotohime is not that great to score against. But if she happens to use a level 2, then you really want to try to set up your enemy formations in just the right way, so you can reflect everything and just create this huge shitstorm of bullets for the other player, because that gives you a ton of score. And by the way, you can tell what attack the AI is going to the Kotohime's level 2 and 3 are these mines that come down. Oh, there's a hyper glitch, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but
no,
this can be good or bad depending on what happens. So what just happened there is Rikako was using her hyper when BTEC died, and when that happens, the hyper effect will actually stay active. And basically what happens now is that because right at this moment the AI is having a full gauge, well, since the AI hasn't even taken a hit yet, the AI is now programmed to charge its gauge. And so right now you see one white pixel on the charge meter right now. That is the AI charging, but since the the hyper is active, they can't actually charge at all. So now you see the AI is actually using a hyper to prevent itself from getting hit. But yeah, if Rikako hyper glitch was triggered while the gauge was almost empty, the AI might still actually just be shooting normally, which actually would be more helpful. But as soon as the AI reaches full gauge, it is programmed to always charge for a level 4. And since the AI couldn't do that, it was basically stuck. Then its only like meaning of offense and defense was basically just the hyper itself. But yeah, like that's one of those circumstances where it can actually be useful to have the hyper glitch happen, but it can also be bad.
Yeah, once we seen that on Rikako as well once during practice. There are a couple of enemies we don't want that to happen to. For example, Marisa or Mima. Because
I would argue with broken shots, it's actually more useful because the AI is going to get hit sooner anyway. So if the AI, if the AI has that hyper glitch active and they wanna, bomb to save themselves, they will still do it. But then when they're out of bombs, then they will still hyper since they are, basically stuck at a full gauge. So that's going to be 10 seconds of guaranteed safety. And, in most rounds, you won't see the AI hyper at all, really.
Yeah, sometimes also, while the AI is also going through a journey and they are at full gauge, they can also trigger a smaller hyper or just cancel their gauge charge if they are about to get it as well before the timer. So sometimes you can just see either like a smaller charge being released, or just get to see a smaller, a shorter hyper being used.
Alright, there goes Rikako now. Or well, the other Rikako technically. We were looking at the different opponents. It was on BTIC's screen. So that's stage 5 with 10 million. Not quite sure if that's good enough for. I mean, it's probably workable for getting an improvement.
If we have Rebu and Mima on stage 5, 6, or Len'en, or Mima, it can be okay. Because since the first 6 stages are random, you would rather want to have Mima or Remu in the later stages to guarantee a bit more score. Also, what are those dodges, Bitik?
Because we'll see BTIC is deliberately staying under the enemies so he can catch the massive cloud of fireballs, which is something you basically want to do regardless, even when the fireballs are aimed away at you, like right now. Because, you still want to be killing enemies anyway. And like in general, you're not going to keep track of, when are the fireballs spread evenly across the screen, or when are they going to be, aimed at you. Because there are so many things you have to keep track of, and I imagine that these players are not going to be focusing on that. It's just going to be the default state of being under enemies directly. Marble's in a little bit of trouble on this Reimu round. I would personally want to win this round. I mean, this is still stage 6, I think, so... Like, dying on stage 6 is... Okay, well, yeah, stage 5. Like, if you die sooner than stage 7, that's generally bad, but it kind of depends. Like, sometimes you could technically still get, like, a really big winning round and get, huge amount of clear bonus, and that could still work out.
Almost got blowed. Marbles was also doing something quite clever there. Marbles was conserving the spell gauge as much as possible, so there was 300k spell points there. As long as the spell point gets updated and there's like no boss, and the advantage is on Marbles' side, Marbles is able to get the upper hand on the boss spawns as well. So it was a nice
so what happens? Yeah, so what happens is basically the boss basically gets killed, but then as long as you still are racking up spell points above 51,200, the game will just spawn a new boss in its place, because the spell point requirement gets reset after a boss is killed. So as long as you can keep like the spell point chain going while a boss is, in the process of being destroyed or being reversed through spell points on their own, then you can just immediately reverse it back, or summon a new boss that way. Whether it's just a normal boss attack or a boss reversal, that doesn't really matter, so long as you have the requirements needed to get a boss to spawn on their screen, which is what you want. And that is also going to be much safer, especially if you're going to be fighting against Yumemi, because then you really need to be in control of what boss is on whose screen. Like generally, if you get Yumemi on the screen as a boss, it's usually not good news, because you could be facing her death cloud pattern, which has no warning and it happens instantly. Also, yeah, it looks like Marble's stream went panic basket.
Yeah, so we'll see when it comes
So it's
back.
going to be BTIC for now.
Yeah. So BTIC did not suicide on stage 7. Lost a life a little before that on stage 5 or 6 against Rikako earlier, so a bit less resources, but 54 million beginning with Chiori is very, very good. It would be possible to get 45-50 million by the end of the stage there. Depends if there will be a will to go up to round 3 or round 2. In either cases, it would still be very possible to get an update in there. Looks like you got back to Marbles too on stage 6. Last life already, but still has a bomb there. Going full in. Going all in there, using the gauge. Need to be a little bit careful to not lose accidental the bomb or potential hyper if Marble doesn't want to die in this round. But so far the gauge has been pretty good there, pretty easy to go, so I might be going for the hyper.
That was a well-timed level 2, by the way. BTIC instantly got 65k spell points just from it only being like a bunch of fireballs that instantly got reflected. And that's another one right there. Very good. This is going good so far with the round in terms of score.
Okay. Safety
a bit less favorable with the resources right now, though. BTIC has taken 1 hit so far. Okay, well, Chiri has taken 1 hit just now earlier, so that's good. Okay, that was an early hit, so that actually took less damage. So that actually didn't matter. So that's actually good. Because generally how damage is going to work here is that you get brought down to 2.5 hearts after 1 hit, and then to half a heart because you basically always survive 1 lethal hit, and then after that you die. So you have 3 hits before you die, but in this case for BTIC it was 4. Okay, yeah, so that's definitely a suicide right there. To get another Chiri round in, that's definitely a good thing to be doing here. Could maybe argue BTIC could have tried to win that round considering how well it was going, but you could technically still do another round and hope that round is going to go similarly well. That's actually what I personally do nowadays. It's kind of I think when you're on a high enough level, you kind of need to stop assuming like, oh, the round has gone well enough, I need to clear this one. But I think like it still kind of comes down to vibes, really. It's not like a sure thing. You're kind of playing the odds, and it also depends on how well you play, etc. There's a lot of like different ways that you can approach how you spend your resources, and also how you decide to contribute to using your level 2s, and when you decide, okay, now I need to save my resources for a hyper or use a bomb in this circumstance, etc. Because generally in the beginning of a round, for example, you probably don't want to bomb, because if the round barely started and you take a hit, it's probably going to take less damage, just like the one that Marbles just took right there. Has 1 heart left. That's an indication of 1 extra hit that Marbles can take. Now it's kind of bad though. Now it's actually just 1 hit left. Meanwhile, on BTEC's side, this is probably going to be a winning round here.
There's still a hyper there.
Cheery is also using a hyper. Usually that means that after the hyper, they're probably gonna die. You can also tell that their timer has ended based on their movement, actually. Generally, when the AI is not programmed to get hit yet, they will move very jittery. It's like they shake a lot in place. But the moment that they are supposed to get hit, they will move in a much more smooth way. And that is usually how you can tell that they're supposed to get hit. And usually then they will within like the next 5 seconds. But if you're really lucky or really unlucky, depending on the situation, they might actually just luck through a bunch of bullets, which is actually something that happened to me on Retro Touhou Festival. I believe the first one, where Yumemi was supposed to get hit, but she didn't, and then I died and game over. That was a pretty sad moment, because I could just tell very clearly that she was supposed to get hit there.
So at the very beginning of a round, it is possible to just take 1 HP worth of damage, just like BT got very early on there. But once you take the first hit, the game will automatically go to either 2 HP or 3 HP worth of damage. So the first hit is very important as when it's taken, because you have to be very careful on the second hit afterward.
Also, something that I see Marbles doing here is that when you're shooting, it helps if you're also moving up, and that's called Doppler shooting, which basically is this thing where basically like every shot that you fire after moving up is basically going to arrive at your intended target sooner, and basically that lets you increase your damage per second very slightly, which can actually make the difference between you being able to kill an enemy in time or not. So that's like a very important technique here in this game, especially.
And
very big reflect there on Marble's side, and another big one, getting some good reflex. Spell points keep going, so another boss reversal, and now the spell points has to end, so the boss is able to spawn.
Yeah. BTEC is on update pay for sure.
Yeah, BTEC is absolutely, like, BTEC could even get a game over and still get well above the current target. As for Marbles, it's not looking quite as good, but it could still happen. It kind of depends on how well the rounds are going to go.
Yeah, I could see the round finishing at like 40 million if Marbles goes for 2 rounds, so getting like 32, 35 from the stages, and ending with like 6 million clear bonus, ending at 40, 41. So it could still go above 60 million, but then the first round of stage 9 earlier was also very good, with like 4 or 5 million, so it's kind of dangerous to see how the update could go there.
So Marbles actually just did something there with Cheery's level 2 there. You can see that Cheery's level 2 is aimed at you, so you can actually deliberately misdirect the bullets towards enemy formations and then kill them so they are lined up with the pellet bullets to get a huge amount of spell points that way, which is what Marbles just did there earlier. That's also one of those things you have to keep in mind with some opponents, is that with some opponents you can actually manipulate how the bullets move, and Cheery's is probably the best example of that, because it's just lines of aimed bullets, and where they go is very dependent on where you are on the screen. Though aside from that, right now it does seem like this round is not going to be a winning one, but like Marbles probably would have suicided here, but you still want to play out the round as much as you can. Like, you would still preferably not want to die, earlier than you need to, because any amount of time that you die too soon is going to be time that you're not gaining score. It's basically going to, like, you don't really want to look at so much on how much score did you lose, but more about how much time did you spend not getting score.
Oh, that's a bit late for this, sadly.
Yeah, that was a badly timed
nice.
cloud of fireballs. Oh my god! That was definitely stuck there. I don't even think the level 1 could have done it, because the level 1 is just too slow. You can actually phase through the laser that Shiri fires with her EX attack to actually you can actually go through the laser if you use your post-charge invincibility frames.
Yeah, so got another.
And also, what's important to keep in mind also is that the lasers don't actually have a hitbox until they have fully formed. So while they're, like, if they're still kind of thin and not fully thickened out, so to speak, they won't have a hitbox yet. And that's an example of a level 1 right there that Marvel's has used to get a bunch of enemies out of the way to actually save himself and also reflect a bunch of stuff. So that's like a case where the level 1 actually did do something good to kind of bring the point home that Ellen's level 1 is not completely useless.
So 36.
Marbles' stream is gone again. Let's switch back to BTick here, who's on the last Yumemi round. So this needs to be a winning one, but BTick is going to be having a score update here with this final, with this spell points right here. That was 655k, so that's 54 mil. That's going to be an update.
Yep. Possibly like a couple more millions there. BTick taking some risk. He still has to risk possible, but needs to make sure that the gauge it can be replenished.
That was a bad situation. And also like 1 pixel away from full gauge, so I couldn't actually hyper there, unfortunately.
Yeah, so not sure if you want to take the safe way. I'll just go.
I would definitely play a save right now, because Yumemi still has a hit left. And it's also very likely that it could still hyper as well. Like, okay, that was definitely an unintentional hit, but like this could still be the full timer. I would definitely play this as safe as I could right now. I would not use any level 2s. Just focus on the clear. Oh,
that's it there. Still not quite full gauge yet.
Snuck through. Okay, yeah, this is really bad. Like Yumemi is using hyper right now, but she still has an extra hit left. So. Yeah, and the boss appears. Oh god, yeah, this could be over.
Okay.
Need some very no, it's over. It's over. There was nothing. There's nothing you can do at that point. You were like BTick was already trapped in between 2 crosses, and then Yumi was about to spawn crosses on top of that. There was just no. I don't think there was reasonably a way out of that.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that was clearly. PB place as well for BTick, like 61, 62 million. That was
55.8, I think.
Yeah, 55.8 at the stage was 3-4 million alone. So clear bonus could have been already like 6 million there. Very unfortunate situation.
Yeah, so like that this is why Yumemi is the stage you really want to clear, not just because it's actually the difference between a game over or not, but Yumemi can really screw you over if her boss appears at the wrong time. And with these 2 characters, Ellen and Reimu here, both of these characters are not very good offensively. So the moment that you're not really in a good position to use your level 1 and you don't have a hyper, you kind of have to just hope that Yumemi throws the right attacks at you. And also not, throw a bunch of like random bullets and fireballs your way, or random EX attacks, which ultimately screwed BTick out of a clear here.
Nice, excellent.
Like this is where your nerves are going to be at their highest for sure.
Ooh, excellent.
That was a pretty lucky dodge with the level 2 there and the reflect of the fireballs. Because generally when a level 2 spawns or a level 3 here, you want to actually sit still so that all the bullets will be misdirected, like right there. Because these bullets are all aimed at you.
Well, we got some nice cancels too.
Yeah, so oftentimes whenever you have aimed bullets like this, ideally you would just slowly stream it, but a lot of the time you can't do that because there's other stuff coming your way. So then you're forced to move somewhere else and make the pattern harder. And there are ways around that to kind of, save yourself if you, let's say, remember exactly where bullets are going to move as they get fired. But otherwise, you kind of have to just, kind of read the bullets, really. Like, Yumeme's level 2 and 3 are not super hard to dodge on the hard difficulty. But it can kind of wall you depending on what else is coming. And that was a very good reflect there. Yumeme used a level 2 there on Marbles aside here. And that can give you a lot of spell points. That gave Marbles, I think, 350k spell points instantly, which is also a boss panic right there.
Yeah, he's already at like 4 million just on the first round alone. Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. There is actually a way to line up a save spot for the level 2 there while Yumeme's cone is also spawning, but you kind of need to have it memorized. I believe you have to go exactly 2 gauge levels on the the gauge below you, that amount of distance to the left or right. Like that is technically a visual cue you can use, but it's a very advanced technique, and you kind of need to be ready for it right on the spot. Like these are techniques and like these small decision making things that you're only going to learn through experience and just playing the game over and over again, because there's otherwise no real way to be ready for it. You just have to like build up intuition for it. There's no other way to really do it. And that was also a pretty lucky streak of level 2s there from Yumeme.
Yeah, that's such a good start.
That's what you want to see?
Okay, that was...
Okay, yeah. Marbles was high up on the screen, so you don't really want to like micro dodge it that way or like stream it that way. So it was kind of forced to move down and dodge it like pseudo normally. But that still works.
I like these,
Marbles is still on pace to beat PB.
I like these questionable movements right there. Good show. Still a bomb there, so okay, can need to be careful. At least keeping the bomb there and a gauge for hyper. Might be a bomb soon at this point.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say like one wrong mistake can kill you right there. I mean, Marvel still has 1 life left. This is the round that has to clear now. So yeah, you start off with a tower, fireballs like usual. That first hit won't matter, so that's not really a big deal. Like ideally you wouldn't bomb in that situation, because that way you keep the bomb for a hit that would do more damage. Now that one you would have definitely want to bomb. But yeah, Yumi's kind of being aggressive right now.
Yeah, the
You can also see just how you can also see how much the crosses are blocking the level 1 bullets also. It's very, very rude.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to fight off BTX corner. Like
so like even on the hard difficulty, this is really hard to deal with, considering you're playing as Ellen.
He's going. We
have 20 minutes left.
He's going for risk. There's no gauge for hyper there. This would be very difficult to survive that. Yeah, the sniper bullet.
It's very unlikely this is going to be a clear. Like Marbles needs to like put out all the stops, and Yuma needs to just get hit like early. But I don't think that's happening right now. It could happen because Yumemi is out of bombs right now. And doesn't have full gauge. Yeah, that was over. So yeah, that was not a PB, unfortunately. No score updates. Marble still has 20 minutes, a small 20 minutes to get another run going.
Yeah, ideally for Marbles, you would want to be close to like 30 million when you want to start Jury, something like this. And you would have a remote chance to update fairly easily, I would say. But yeah, on that second round, the sniper blade just went from inside the cross, barely visible, no time to react, to use the last bomb remaining. And even had Marbles had the full gauge there for a potential hyper. It's going to
Well, that was a lot of fireballs in between a bunch of lasers. Wasn't really able to level 1 out of that.
You'd like to see the
Well, at least since they're stuck on early game now, both players here do have some room to reset if the early rounds here don't go well. Which, you know, it's still kind of a risk, but you know, in that case, you don't want to die on you know, on early stages here. Also, I thought for a second here the B-Tick was doing RNG manip to actually get a proper stage 1, but I don't think that was RNG manip.
I think the bonus was not high enough for the standards. Like, I think for Lamer, you would want to have something like 1.5, maybe 2 million, depending on the character you are facing, to advance through the stages. Especially
I don't really know what scores these players want, because I'm like just too used to my own, you know, what kind of scores I want. So it's kind of hard to say exactly what they want, at least in the early game. Once we get to like stage 8, I can much more easily see like whether they are on pace or not.
Well, I would say you would want, for like stage 7, you would want to be near 25, or 22. Well, of BTIC, you would be at least near 20, so you have a chance to get to 30 in stage 8. So an average of like 2-3 million per stages in early rounds, maybe 1.5 for like the first 3 stages would be decent for the demo. But the decision has to be made quick, 16 minutes. This is worth like worth an attempt to stage 7 at the very least, I would say, before the timer is over. So there's plenty of time to get like maybe 2, 3, 4 stage attempts and see if you can get like 10 million at stage 4. I would say this would be like the benchmark for any of the players. Oh, listen, the 1 million there.
Unfortunate end on this marbles round here. Bunch of fireballs that couldn't get reflected quite right. Meanwhile, BTIC is also, you know, on stage 1. And I think Marbles was on stage 3. I wasn't looking, but I think it was stage 3.
Oh, it's stage 3 now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a point where I would have already reset on stage 1, so...
Yeah, hidden.
But, you know, the early game is not going to matter as much when you have, like, intermediate level score PBs, I would say. It's like at that point, it's more important to focus on the late game, because the late game scores more and it's also more difficult. So if you want to actually, you know, get better at this game, I would recommend to actually, you know, get as many credits to the late game as you can, even if they're not going to be on pace. Because, like, even if you have a run that doesn't seem like you could PB with it anymore, sometimes you can just randomly get super lucky rounds that actually give you, like, you could get a round that's almost 20 million. Even, like, and on hard, like, I don't know, maybe closer to around 15, but it's like, sometimes you can get rounds that just, where lots of good opportunities just line up just right.
Yeah, like sometimes with Chiri against Len'en, I can get like 1 million clear bonus, and then some of the times you can just get like 4 million, just like that. Like
well, earlier we saw that Marbles got almost a 9 million clear bonus on the winning Chiri round, so that was like a very lucky round right there, because that's the kind of score that I would want to see. Like even I think that's really good for, like, whenever I do my own scoring attempts. That's like that is a really good score to see.
6-7 million for them would be already very nice to have, for sure.
6-7.
More difficult part is the final clear bonus on stage 9, because sometimes you can just get 3 million like we saw with BTIC on the first attempt, And sometimes the final stage in round 2 or round 3 can actually give 7 to 8 million as well, like Chiuri. But it really depends on how well the round is going and how well the counters are. Because sometimes you can just chain like 6, 7 boss flame counter due to bosses spawning or spell card spawning from the other side, and sometimes you can just get nothing. You get like slightly off the.
Ooh, that's gonna be really big reflect there from Kotahime's level 2.
Sadly, did not follow up on the other side, but you do have the attack on the boss. We got a chain there with the boss as well. That's nice. Got an immediate counter. Or at least
One thing that's also really good about the early game here, by the way, is that whenever you can get like these really big summons, that will raise the rank, and that is really good for score because that basically gives you more bullets to work with, more pellet bullets that you can reflect.
Yeah, 2.5 billion clear bonus against Kotorime stage 1. That's excellent. This is a very nice start to have here.
Yeah, hopefully both players can continue these runs because there's not going to be much time left to reset.
Yeah, hopefully no death. That's the worst thing we would want to see. Although
Yeah,
it
like
can be
the early game is not that difficult on hard because like the timers are still relatively low on these difficulties. It's like Lunatic especially where the timers really ramp up. But things could still happen that, screw you over, or you just get too greedy. A lot of things can still make you reset. But maybe we don't want to see resets on bad scoring rounds, but they technically still could do it because there's still some reset time. But as soon as the timer is at 0, they are both going to be locked in.
Something that also they will try to avoid is using bombs on the early stages because of how short the timer is, and because at that point bombing would just lose major time for getting points very early on.
Yeah, because when you bomb, it basically becomes an entire like a full kill screen, and everything gets killed, and that kills pretty much all of your chaining. Like sometimes stuff that is at the very, very top of the screen can still technically get reflected, but in general, everything, like most of everything else that just comes on screen just gets instantly deleted and thus cannot be chained. And the same goes for like enemies that come on screen. They pretty much just get directly destroyed, which means it won't give you spell points. So in the early game, you would rather not bomb because that's like 5 seconds, around 5 seconds that you don't really get to accumulate score.
There's also one thing that can be done on last resort that could be very useful on early stages is that at the end of a stage, whenever the enemy is defeated, there's like 2-3 seconds of downtime before the stage is actually over. It can be possible to use a bomb there, and if you have like a chain of spirits that is just about to appear, it is possible to collect another big gauge of spell points and even to reflect the boss post end of the round as well.
Yeah, well, in general, it only gives you basically the score that you get from killing enemies directly, which is a very, very small amount of extra score, by the way. Like, I think we're talking like maybe a couple hundreds or maybe 1,000 or something. It's a very small amount. But yeah, both players now only have 10 minutes left. But they both seem to be doing fairly well on these runs. So there's a pretty good chance that both players are going to be committed to this attempt.
Yeah, almost 10 million at the end of stage 3. That's a very nice start still for marbles. And 17 million, I think it's stage 5 or 6 for Bitic. Also very, very good pace.
Yeah, Bitic definitely has a pretty good score right now, even if this is, in the worst case, stage 6, because Kana doesn't appear on stage 7 or onward, so... Also right there, Bitic actually reflected a bunch of fireballs, or well, didn't reflect them, but actually just killed them directly, which can still be good because if you let them go off screen, then they are just gone from play, basically. And if you know that you can't reflect those fireballs anyway, you might as well just kill them. So the AI might actually reflect them back to you to actually create a new scoring opportunity and a new opportunity to reflect the fireballs back again. But it's not something you specifically like aim for. It's more just like, well, there's a bunch of fireballs here. I'm already going to release my charge. I might as well kill these fireballs. That's kind of the situation where you do that.
Okay, nice. Was understood, but sadly the reflections on marbles did not quite work with Kana. Kana can give a lot of goods. She's a very good survivor and score partner to face off.
And so that's stage 5 for Ellen. Elephant Mill is decent, but you probably would want to see probably 10 million on, or probably a little more than 10 million on these next 2 rounds. So we have about like, let's say 23, 24 million going into stage 7.
Oh, okay, still at the bomb there. Doesn't want to go for safety. One thing to be careful of is when you use a bomb, you can get hit before the animation of a background is over. So I think that's what happened once with BT. BT got hit just before the end of the animation of the bomb during stage 9 and lost the round a little early on because BT was standing on the cross at that point.
Gotta love when Mima just bombs right after you use a level 2. It's like, screw you, you don't get the score. Can't really do anything about that. It just happens sometimes.
Okay. Alright, so BT still going despite the life loss there, which is okay with Ellen late stage, but just need to be careful on the hit she's taking. Also means that one life has to be spared later on the next stages.
Bunch of bullets on my screen. That's gonna definitely get some bullets. Not really that much. I was not really that lucky, unfortunately.
Okay.
This is probably gonna be better. Yeah, here we go. And when the level 2 is timed properly, you can definitely get more out of it. I mean, sometimes your level 2s are not going to be timed just because you have to release your charge at some point anyway. And when you're playing such a slow charging character, you can't really afford consistency with when exactly you release your level 2, because you have to already wait quite a while for it to reach that threshold. Okay, 16.2, going into stage 6. Bitik is on stage 7. Bitik lost 1 life before Mima, which is not ideal, so this could be a bit of a problem. Bitik needs like around 56 million for an update, which could definitely still happen. There's still a lot of rounds on the table, that being 3 whole stages and 3 additional rounds where lots of stuff can still happen. So both players are still on track to beat their PBs, but for marbles, it's going to be a little bit more demanding to actually win the qualifiers, needing 61.43 million, as you can see on the target right next to the players' screens right here.
He missed 2 good combos there. That could have been like
that level 1 was not well timed there, because the enemies got killed too soon. Like, usually when you see a bunch of fireballs or like a bunch of bullets, you usually want to delay killing the enemies if you can, so you can more easily control when the enemies get killed to catch a bunch of those pellets in the explosions. But sometimes you can't really do that. It kind of depends on the situation and how quick your intuition skills are with dealing with the many thousands of different situations you get in. Just like that one, that was a bunch of fireballs that could not get reflected, probably because the enemy formation was already kind of a bit too far into moving around.
BTK was on last seat. I still had the bomb left.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah,
BTEC still
yeah.
has BTEC still has one reset on stage 1 that it can afford. But after that, it's going to be all or nothing basically.
Yeah. There's another problem getting reset early on hard mode is that the enemies are not strong enough that in a few of those formations you can just sit still to get the cancels on the fire cannon there, because they are so weak that you actually need to misplace yourself a little bit further on the spawn side. Otherwise, if you stand still, there's a higher chance you miss out on the counter at that point. While on the later stages, since they are a bit more solid, it's a bit easier to get through. And also, there are two formations early on that are extremely slow to spawn in. The sine wave formation, since we talked about Doppler effects earlier, and the expanding ball formations, which take much longer to spawn in compared to others, and thus higher chance to lose the combos at this point.
Yeah, so Marbles is on stage 7 and entered with 20.1 million, which is not as ideal, but it's still workable. Still has full lives, and when you're playing as Ellen, also, I don't think we mentioned this, you fight Marisa, who is one of the easiest stage 7 opponents. So Ellen gets a little bit of a breather here, and it also helps that nothing that Marisa has can block Ellen's level 1 arrowhead bullets. So that's this is probably the easiest time that Ellen's gonna have relative to the other characters in this game.
The hits left. Yeah, you would want Marisa to spawn in the big circle of bullets, which is the best cancel attack you can have from her too.
Yeah, the rings with the star bullets that appear on high rank. That boss pattern is the best one to see. Marisa in general doesn't score that well because she just doesn't have a lot of bullet patterns that you can really work with. So in this case, Marbles really just has to rely on Ellen's strengths with her level 2 and the boss pattern that shoots this big spiral of pellet bullets.
Okay, 25
that was a fairly quick win. That was a decent stage, but maybe not great. Yeah, still with full lives though, and still needs, I think it's about 35 million to reach the target. 36, about 36 million. Or I said for 36, yeah.
But it's workable. But it's workable, you can get 15, 20 million against Chiori.
Yeah, so probably Marble's game plan here is just to have at least 2 lives going into Yamemi here. So that because the third round actually has its timer significantly more reduced than the others. So that actually makes it relatively safe without sacrificing a lot of score necessarily. But technically you could also go with all lives into Yamemi, but I guess it kind of depends on what Marble's plan is here.
And reset timer is over, so good luck on the last game.
Also, we can't quite see what's going on now. It's kind of laggy.
Okay, Marbles took one hit since last time. Still on 2 hits left. There's at least a bomb remaining there, so that's okay. On last hit now.
1 hit left, yeah.
What's really nice, at least with the 2 last opponents, is that the level 2s and level 3s can just be streamed down, so you can just very carefully do some small ticks and just dodge them. It's mostly the bosses that are the main scary points in this instance. I'm not sure if the window that is in front of the stream will help us to see the situation on the gauge for Marbles there. So far, yes, it's kind of important. Okay, triggering a hyper there for marbles. There's still one more hit, two hits left for Chiri. Could still possible to get a few counters and get some higher gauge before doing a little suicide there, depending on what state Chiri will be in. There's a much higher probability that marbles will go for suicide early on whenever the trigger for the last hit is heard. So even with just loading it in.
There was a pretty good chance for a bunch of bullets and fireballs to like sneak past the explosions, but it did kind of work out.
That's so nice. Okay.
So it's last hits. Oh, now the whole thing is gone. Help! The whole screen is gone now.
Help us.
We can't see what's going to happen.
Nice. Chiri's still alive there.
Oh, and now the stream is completely gone.
Oh, stream died. Oh no. Okay, it's back. Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's back.
Well, Chiri is not alive anymore, which is the issue. Okay. 33 billion, that's not good. So I think Marbles played a little bit too hard with the timer there. It's very sad because there was some very good gauge at the end. This could have been 40 million, 45 million starting Yumemi. So it seems that Bit Extreme has died as well in the meantime.
I wasn't sure if the run died or not, but...
Okay.
Oh, okay. So that means that means that BitTech could technically BitTech could still win here, depending on what's going to happen on this run now. Looks like Marbles is going to go into the final stage with all lives, so that does mean that Marbles is going for maximum safety here.
Yeah, he did,
but PB could still happen, but it's going to be a little bit rough. Especially considering that Yumemi is these rounds are not going to last as long probably because Yumemi counters Ellen just really hard, and it's not quite like it's a lot worse going against Yumemi in general compared to like Chiri. She has a little bit of an easier time with Chiri, but Right now, Marbles is playing pretty risky, still using level 2s. So far, so good. But
I saw that
sniped by a fast bullet. These random bullets have varying speeds, by the way, and sometimes they can actually have like essentially lunatic speeds, and you kind of have to watch out for that because on low difficulties, you can still have bullets go really fast. I'm pretty sure even on easy mode they could go that fast. Just not as common, but it also depends on the round speed, which in this case, basically translates to, the later in the round you are, the faster the bullets are going to go on average.
Yeah, and since Marbles died early in that first round, the round 2 does not start at max rank early on. So there's also another small case of score loss at that point too. Because depending on
I'm not sure what's gonna happen here. Like it's a little bit of a bad spot that Marbles is in. Or questionable, I would say. It's kinda hard to say if this is able to be a winning run right now.
Well, the fifth round will be
Marbles is gonna need some pretty good and consistently large reflex here on most of these rounds in general. Like right here, that was very good. We got the cone and the enemies were on top of the spawn point, so that was maximum spell points. Very good, very good. You're almost kind of hoping that the level 2 allows you to reflect enough to where you can actually get the boss reversal here. Because Ellen just has such a hard time killing Yumemi directly. And this is true for Reimu as well, by the way. Even if you place the level 1 on top of bosses, it still does pretty pitiful damage.
One hit on Yumemi there. Still another one left. Okay,
Yeah, Marbles also still has 2 hits left. One of them was pretty early, so that is an advantage that now Marbles has 4 hits to work with.
Okay,
It's kind of fortunate that that bomb kind of canceled out most of that cone attack. That could have actually worked out quite well. Also kind of want to see the good attacks here, like right here. Here we go. Okay, that was pretty decent.
If it's a risky hyper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, nothing could be reflected from that level 2 because no new enemies were spawning yet. Unfortunately. Oh god. Oh, that was unlucky. Oh yeah, this is bad. This is bad.
Oh,
okay. That was time just in time to dodge those crosses. Okay, and Yumim is leaving. That's good.
Short boss.
I don't think we yet know what actually determines the boss to leave, but they always have to do at least 1 attack before the boss leaves the screen. Oh wait, okay, I guess Marbles got just barely nicked by the cross. I couldn't quite tell actually.
I don't see.
Or was that a suicide?
Yeah, UBB just switches it, so.
Okay.
Like the 5 Marbles could not get the second round on Shuri is a major loss there.
That last round was pretty decent actually, but you kind of want all these rounds now be good, kind of. I think we want to see, I think for everyone watching, I think we want to be seeing about 50 million going into the final round. So if Marbles is able to get about 9 million into, like before getting to the final round, that could be good. If you could reasonably get about like 9 or 10 million. It's nice crosses, by the way. Maybe Marbles would have been fine, but that is not a risk you want to take.
Yeah, I don't see it going to 50 quite yet. Like there's some reflections that got lost sadly. I might have a boss there. Okay, combo is continuing. Okay, excellent there.
But yeah, like basically you want to go into the final round and kind of assume that, okay, a good enough round is going to get 10 million here. But, you know, because you're also getting a clear bonus out of it. And generally the clear bonus is more or less going to mirror... Oh, that was actually a very intentional hyper there. I think Marbles right there actually used the hyper so that the enemies would get killed instantly, so that that would actually catch the fireballs. That was actually pretty smart right there.
Nice.
Because the hyper does actually still act as a bomb for like 1 frame, basically, where it instantly deletes everything on screen. But the fireballs weren't quite on screen yet, so the fireballs were still able to spawn that way.
Oh. Okay. Don't think this was intentional. That's it. 1 more? Okay. Okay,
this is gonna be the last hit. Marbles could just choose to not kill Ellen just yet, because Yumi is about to reach full gauge, so you can be sure that she's going to survive for at least, you know, like 30 more seconds or so, because even if she got hit early right here, she would just hyper to save herself. So yeah, that was a fairly good round still, all things considered.
Yeah, the ending gained like 2 million easily, so it's nice. But now
sometimes you can just get a bunch of really big chains and just get like 1 or 2 million really quickly, so which is, you know, mostly just down to luck really, but you know, that's the kind of things you want to be looking out for, just a bunch of big reflex just continuously happening. Okay, that was, I don't know if that hit would have been less damage. I mean, it would have been less damage, but I don't know if it would have been sufficiently less damage, but that was probably still a good bomb to use.
I think
it's very good.
I think it was just to cancel the enemies from above. Nice level too.
That big enemy actually took enough damage to where Marbles only had to do 1 hit point of damage to get those big clumps of fireballs, so that actually worked out quite nicely there. Okay, that's going to be another big one. Very good. Ellen is actually, if you can believe it, actually really good, a really good scoring character. Like, she is technically top tier, but it's really difficult to get it out of her because she's just so difficult to play, and not the kind of difficult like Cheery, because at least Cheery is fairly easy to control, but Ellen really is not. It's like a different kind of like difficult. It's probably more a little bit like Sakia B in DDC in Touhou 14. Because it is so difficult to control the play field when you're Ellen. At least with Chiori, you do have like a fast, fairly strong and very precise charge attack that does have pretty decent control over the play field.
Oh no, that's not yet the time.
I'm not sure what that looked. That was a suicide. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah,
maybe it was not on her last hit yet.
Yeah, that's that thing. It could have been like 51 million at the start of this round.
I'm not really sure why Marbles did that.
He took also another hit early on as well. Well, she never took another one since. So
this is still PB pace though, like or pace on like being able to win the qualifiers here. But it does really literally come down to this round right now.
If you would need like at least a 6 million clear bonus at this point. Like this would be very difficult to manage.
It's like 5 million, but it really comes down to how many reflex are happening right now. But it went quite well at the beginning, but Marbles also took too much damage already. Like I wouldn't like at this point I would probably try to survive because Yumemi is already guaranteed to. But Marbles is going YOLO. Marbles is gonna put on a show for us here.
The round is short, he has to. It's needed.
Like, using level 2s here is gonna be pretty risky, especially if Yumemi manages to summon a boss and it does not get reflected. Like that is the real danger here.
No,
but it's going well so far. The spell wars are going pretty well right now. Okay, it ended now, but maybe this will get reflected just in time. Yes, very good. That barely got caught. Shit. Okay. That was unfortunate. That was fortunate.
Yep. 2 bombs left. Yumemi is not on last hit quite yet, so there could still be a chance of Viper with defense mode.
Please play it safe. Please play it safe now. If you play it safe, you'll win.
6 million clear at this point. It could be.
There will definitely be more summons before the round ends. So I think this can win if Marbles displays full survival now.
Yeah. Okay. Defeating the boss. Okay. Yumemi is on hyper now.
Yeah. Just go.
Okay.
Get the reflect. Yes. Very good. 100k spell points is what you need here.
Lunging a good time. Another small reflect.
You just need to hope that Yumemi cooperates now. She needs to not summon bosses. Okay. No, you use a level 1. Okay. Okay, good. Very good.
That's actually...
Marbles is taking the win. The big saves and even playing it risky just to hopefully get that score that was needed to win. And Marbles did it. Very nice.
That final round was excellent.
Yeah, the target that was needed was 61.4. Marbles went a full million over that, so congratulations to Marbles. Marbles is going to go to the big full official hard scoring match, because this was just the qualifiers. This was the match that was going to determine who is going to go to the real deal match.
Yeah, how this was managed at the very end was just excellent. Like, I don't think I would have believed around 5 Yumemi would go this well, to be fair.
Yeah, like if you play very risky on even a round as late as round 5, you can still get a pretty good clear out of it. Like, even if the round is going to be fairly short, I don't even know how short the time really was, but I think actually a quirk here with the round speed here is that the round speed is actually at its maximum value. If you get to Yumemi on hard and you play round 4 and 5, I believe the value is maxed out. So the intensity was basically at full swing right at the beginning of that round, which is something that does partially help with getting a good score even on late rounds like that. So like Marbles definitely played it very safe with the resources, to just have as many lives as possible against UMME, even though that probably did hurt the score a little bit because it's a bit harder to get consistent reflex because UMME just blocks a bunch of your level 1s because of the crosses and stuff. But in this case, for Marbles, it worked out quite well. So gonna see the final results: 62.8 million.
67 skill. Excellent.
Oh wow, just perfect. Not sure if that's a PB for Marbles. I believe Marbles is still fairly. Oh yeah, I was 85. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a difference.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that. Like that is actually fairly hard here.
Yeah, so the PB earlier when the 58 closed in the scoreboard. Yeah, there was a lot of potential, so not sure how much risk was taken for the ending of the stages.
Yeah, I mean, it was still a fairly close match because BTEC was pretty much in the lead for the entire, almost the entire match here. Marbles basically have to, Marbles definitely needed a stronger run here to win.
Yeah, BTEC was behind until the second run with 55. Yeah. I don't know if Marbles has any comments for us, or if BTEC Unmuted would have some comments as well on the match.
If you guys want, you can do an interview right now. Hello. Like I have to serve.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
have to
believe
unmute
BTEC is still
BTEC.
fully muted, by the way. So
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, looks like BTEC got toasted in this match, unfortunately.
It's okay. Marble have more potential than me because I just picked up this category like a week ago.
Mm.
Yeah, I believe Marbles has played on hard at least for a fair while longer, like maybe a month or two. I don't quite remember, but you two are definitely fairly new to hard difficulty. I do at least know that. These are players who generally play, easy, or well, I think generally normal mode. I do know BTEC also has done some easy runs, at least at the beginning.
Yeah,
But,
one of them.
I hope you still manage it.
Yeah.
Well, at least we hope you had fun, and we probably want to see you get more hard scores in the future. I think you're making some pretty good decisions with your gameplay. I think you would be capable of getting even higher scores than 60 million with Reimu or a different shot if you want to.
I could try to go for 70 mil Reimu.
70. I believe that I wonder if that's I think that would have been the world record in probably around 2016 or earlier. I think that's still a fairly strong score to go for. It's probably similar to Marbles' PB with Ellen right now with 85 million.
Well, to be fair, if we take into account the fact that both the 55 and the 58 early on were not a clear run, I think the BTEC would have had 60 and Marbles 65 at the end of those runs.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because those runs were very, very good at the end of those matches as well.
Sec, guys, sec. Wait just a second.
Okay, we're moving over to Festival Swish Chat, I see.
Yo, can you guys speak now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Camero.
Thanks.
Yep.
I guess pour Couscous and Lem are on their own.
Yeah, that's not correct.
That was. I thought I was over when I saw because for the final run, I initially wanted suicide on Chiri, but she died. So I was below pace entering UME, which is not ideal.
Honestly, I want to say that
ideally
that
you would
last
want
round
to
of
have some. Go ahead.
I wanted to say, Marbles, that last round of yours was an absolute blast to watch. It was so hype.
Yeah, because it did come down to that run where you were going to win or not, and getting to Yumami with full lives is not ideal in terms of score potential. So I was a little bit like, I don't know if it's gonna be on pace. Like it could still happen, but it kind of depends on how many like good reflex you get. But it was actually going quite well on Yumami, even if the survival was probably not like the best, but like it's just really hard to survive with Ellen if you're against Yumami. It just kind of comes with the territory.
I was also like the edge of my seat the entire time throughout the final round. It was like when I saw the score at the final round, I was like, wait, I could actually win this. And then I just locked in.
Yeah, you were playing pretty risky. Like you made some decision where like maybe be a bit careful now. I would just play full survival at this point. Like if you do, you will win.
Yeah, Vindig was more on the survival side, but Rios definitely has some questionable movements as well.
Yeah. I'm interested to watch the VOD after this.
Yeah, it will come up in like 24 hours, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'll upload it immediately, pretty much. In like an hour, it should be there.
At least if there's no like technical difficulties with, stuff that's on the VOD.
Probably not.
There's one part where all the stream gone, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, your stream did die like once or twice.
Yeah. The first time I actually had to like TWC break. The second time, unfortunately, it died. I stopped immediately and I was like, it has actually happened before on a few live streams. So like, I was like, no, very demotivated afterwards.
All right then. So this is it for the first qualifying round here. We will soon as Couscous can schedule Pod Lunatic Survival Qualifiers. So stay tuned for that
Survival?
here on the RTF channel on YouTube, which is where most people
Is
watch.
it going to be survival?
I mean, I'm playing scoring.
It's scoring. I probably said survival, right?
Yeah,
you said I was a little bit. It was like, wait, is Couscous doing survival now?
No,
Did I
it's
miss
scoring.
something?
Survival does. I don't remember if survival even has qualifiers. At this point, maybe it does because RTF is huge now.
Yeah, imagine if I was just suddenly forced to play like LNB for the first time in like 3 years and wasn't pulled off all games.
Oh yeah. Well, any closing comments here?
Well, I pretty much said what I wanted to say, I think. So, it was a close match, and I did have a lot of fun. And, congrats to both players. You guys played well. We've seen some good decision making throughout you guys' gameplay. So, I'm fairly satisfied with how things turned out. So, and also, congrats to Marbles.
All right, GG Marbles. You barely made it into the full match.
Yeah, I seriously thought that BTIC had it at the end.
No, even if I win, I'll just let you take it. Because honestly, I just don't want to because I just pick up this category like I said like a week or so don't have much preparation myself. And this category I just took for like as a side quest. Like I play those category for fun. It's not like serious like the other player.
Okay, well, let's all quote unquote raid TWC. This isn't Twitch, so we can't actually raid it. So
raid with 0 viewers.
Yeah, raid with 0 viewers and offline. Well, thanks for coming.
How does that even work? Are we gonna get a link on the main chat now?
Yeah, sure. Let's just all watch.
And everyone everyone raid this.
Yeah, and we all just like say RTF raid in chat.
Yeah. Say RTF qualifiers raid.
Qualifier raid, yeah.
Yeah, RTF qualifiers raid. Say that. All right, then everyone. See you all on Pod Lunatic scoring qualifiers.
By the way, Fami, can you stay for a bit because I wanted to talk about my scheduling for the qualifier match.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we can do that. We can do that after I end the recording. Then goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.